Welcome to the Diabolical!
Welcome back to the Comics Cube, everyone. We are doing a Trese rap party with Trese co-creators, Budjette and Kajo Baldisimo, and the basis for Hank the Bartender, Mr. Hank Sparrow.
Yeah.
So, first things first, guys, congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
How's it feel? How's it feel? How's it feel?
I still can't answer that question, that Duy. There are no. I still can't find the right words. It feels great, of course. It has its ups and downs, especially when I made the mistake of reading certain posts on social media, which I'm now avoiding.
I know the posts you're talking about, Budge. Those are. So what I told Budge was, if your thing is starting discourse that you never intended, that's how you know you've made it. If people are bashing you, clearly saying, "I have never read the books or watched the show, but I hate it," that's how you know you've made it. Kajo, how's it feel, man?
Happy, pero yeah, still confused, and parang every day I had to ask myself the question: is this real life now? Is this the life now? So I guess it is, siguro. So have to adjust a little kasi ano siya, jarring pa rin eh. Still jarring.
Hank, how does it feel to be immortalized?
It's you know what, when I made it to the pages of Trese, I already felt immortalized. This is just extra validation now that it's on Netflix, on animated, plus it's a little funny because on the page I feel like it looks a little bit more, or feels more like me. And well, not to say that I don't like the anime series version of me, but because I do, but I'm thinking of a particular boxer turned senator in the Philippines. Actually, that only happens in the Philippines. Other countries will not say, "Yeah, this boxer is now a senator." That only happens here. But yes, but it feels good just seeing it. Like Kajo, I'm still not believing it. Right? I don't think. Right? I feel like I'm gonna wake up tomorrow and somebody's gonna tell me what Netflix anime series. Naginip lang pala lahat yun, diba? It's all. But I'm thrilled.
You guys waited until the premiere to watch it, right?
Yes.
So what languages did you watch it in?
First in Filipino. And then in Filipino. And then I think the second viewing was in Japanese.
Okay. Have you watched it in English?
One episode, a little distracting. I feel weird watching it in English, and I don't know why.
We watched it. We watched it last week. Exactly last week. We watched most of it in English. We tried one episode in Filipino, which was episode 2, and yeah, those had really funny lines in episode 2. So yeah, but we haven't had the chance to watch it again or to flip the sequence. But yeah, maybe this weekend we'll do that.
My favorite is because I watched it first in English. So, when Bagyon Kulimlim destroyed the car, in English, it's "Oh no, not the car." Pero in Tagalog, it's "Bad trip yung kotse!"
That's better.
And then when the wind tribe came in to push the car, right? They go, hold on to your bags.
Hold on to your hairdo.
Hold on to your hairdo in English. It was like, waka mo bangs mo, girl.
But don't we all know people that talk like that? I mean, we all know somebody like that. I mean, I do. I have like more than enough friends that like, and they all relate with the wind elementals. I'm like, you would.
And yeah, characteristic. It's funny how they were able to just look at those pages and able to translate the characteristics of the wind of Hani and Ami into that. That's how they were in my head, and how Kajo drew it. They were these, forever giggling, giddy.
Yep.
They were just happy to be hanging around the racers, and they picked that up, really, quickly. So it's amazing how much that they understood from the pages.
Did that? Yeah, go ahead, Hank.
Yeah, but the way I understood it was the people that wrote the script and that worked. I mean, they were all fans already. So, I mean, how could they not pick it? I mean, if they've read the books as much as we have, well, maybe not me or but if they've reread it, how many times? How could they not, pick up on like, oh, these people, they have to talk like this. They have to, I mean, because fans didn't say that. It's not like they picked up the book last week and then, okay, we're working on a new thing. And, they're not new to, I mean, you know what I mean? They're not new. I mean, like they're old time fans as well, which it's sort of like, it's a good thing. You're in a good, you're in good hands, so to speak.
Yes,
or the show is in good hands. Anyway, I'm sorry I cut you off, Duy.
No problem. You can ask whatever questions you want. Help me out.
It's your bar.
It's your
my
bar.
first time here. I don't want to get kicked out.
Your bar, Hank. It's your bar.
Oh, it is. Okay. Well,
It's your
my first
bar.
time
It's
here.
just my lot. But no. So, are there any characters that were different from how you envision them? You can't say Marco.
That was top of mind. I haven't. So I'm trying to figure out if I should watch my words, because me, Tanya, Jay, and the writers haven't had a session like this along with Kajo. A chance to just
Feedback.
talk about. Yeah, I mean, we met up on the night of the launch, but it was really more. We were still on that high of like, hey, it's finally out. But yes, the memes that have been coming out, it's yes, I never knew that Talagbusaw wanted to do a TED Talks, but he did. So, but thinking back, and I look at book 3, I realized everyone made a speech. The mayor gave a speech, the general gave a speech. And then I think they just got all transferred to Talagbusaw. But yeah, there were moments where it was just them standing and like, word balloon, word balloon, word balloon, word balloon.
No, it was the same thing for me. When I first watched it, diba? Talagbusaw starts giving his speech. I don't know if you noticed, but the sun set while he was giving his speech.
Yes, I do.
So inisip ko, why is this so long? But then I watched it in Tagalog and it didn't bother me at all.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if I was just prepared for it or if it's legitimately better in Tagalog. I don't know.
I heard on second view, some people say on second viewing it was better. But yeah, maybe they're prepared for, here's the speech.
But you know why that is, Budge? There's just not enough episodes. The most common criticism I've heard about the show is that there aren't enough episodes. We want more. We want to see more, which to me is the best possible negative thing you can say about the show, about anything.
Yeah.
Yep. That's part of the plan. Yeah, what should the hashtag be? Give us the. I keep telling people, please stop nagging Jay Oliva about release the blank cut because he's just had too much of that.
Hang on. There's a blank cut?
No, I meant.
Don't start this shit, man, because people are gonna bug him for something.
There is. They've already started bugging him for it.
This is going on the internet, Budjette. People will be like, may blank cut daw, sabi ni Sir Budjette.
No.
No, for the people who know what it is, apparently Jay cut something that is fairly popular to fans, and they've already started hashtagging him for it. Released a blank cut, and Budjette had to say on the Trese group, do not bug Jay Oliva for the blank cut. I'm intentionally saying blank so nobody will do it.
Yes, activate.
No, but it was if I remember right, it was in the script, but they couldn't put it in. So it's not like there's an edit existing that Jay can just easily release. So it's more of like script time, if I understood it right.
This was the first project for Base, right? For Base Entertainment.
So no, first project for Base with Netflix, to be clear, because Base is already producing or has been producing films in Indonesia.
What about animation?
So this is their first anime, and of course, as Jay Oliva said, it's the first project of his own animation studio, Lex and Otis.
So I have to admit, the first time I saw the first episode, the first 10 minutes, siguro. No, not the first 10, maybe the first 5. And there wasn't much animation. I was starting to get a little worried because it was a bit of a slideshow. And then the action scenes happened. And then I realized, oh, that's what they were saving the money for. At least their priorities are straight. What do you guys think of the animation? Because I thought the action scenes were great.
It was artistic discretion, I think. That whole bit, I know what you're talking about. It starts off, it's like slideshow, right? And then that way, when the actual animation comes in, you're like, you're wowed a little. Yeah, right. You're there's an extra wow factor because like, is this how they're gonna do it? Like that old Marvel. You know what I'm talking about, right? When Captain America throws his mighty shield.
The last time I had Budge on this show,
yes,
he said he would have really liked it if Trese had a 1960s Marvel theme song.
Ganon, yung luma, yung old school na.
And a song, right? A song that explains everything.
There's a drawing of Captain America.
She went into a balete tree.
Yes. Yeah, just like.
But how would that song go, Budjette? I mean, it tells of the story of Trese.
Yeah. We should figure that out in the grand tradition of G.I. Joe, Transformers, or
Sixth child of the sixth child.
Yeah, it would be like a counting song, like that 1, little 2, little 3, little until you get to Trese, right? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, Trese. I don't know, man. I watched too much Sesame Street when I was younger. Oh my God, I still watch Sesame Street today.
Let's see if season 2 gives us. If we get season 2, let's try and pitch that, Hank.
How can we not get a season
sa
2
bati
when
mo tayo
everybody
na,
is saying
tayo
give
na
us a
sa bati
season
mo.
2?
I'm sorry.
Everybody's saying give us a season 2. Netflix, give us a season 2. We didn't see enough. Honestly, like 6 episodes. 6 episodes isn't enough of anything. So I've been trying to say this, right? So here's my thing. Most Netflix live action things are really long. Like even Daredevil, as good as it was kind of long.
Yeah.
Most of their cartoon things are too short. Like even the upcoming He-Man and the Masters of the Universe remake is 5 episodes long.
Wow.
It's too short.
Okay.
They're most
Are they 30-minute episodes as well? Sorry.
Yeah,
Are
they're
they
30 minutes episodes.
So Trese got one more episode than He-Man?
Mm-hmm. Trese got one more episode than He-Man. Their most acclaimed
carry on.
have been Stranger Things and Queen's Gambit, which are 8 episodes long. So here's an idea, Netflix. 8 episodes for everything. I think it would work.
I'm liking it. If I worked in Netflix, I'd be like, yeah, you know what? Let's listen to the Comic Cube guy. I like this idea.
If 10 is too long and 6 is too short.
But if I did.
They have, don't you think they have very knowledgeable people over there who've been calculating these things?
I'm sure they do.
I'm sure they do. And I'm sure they're also trying to balance that with the amount of budget they have. No pun intended, budget, but the amount of budget they have, right? So, but from a fan's point of view, from our point of view, of course, we're like, we just need, another 30 minutes would have been enough to like help us round out the whole story or round out the season a little bit more, especially for the newcomers.
I think we should make it a tradition. Every 6th episode, someone should give an 11-minute speech just to, sustain.
Or every 6th episode, they can make an hour long.
Oh,
so
yeah. Okay, sure.
The speech,
sure.
Right? Or maybe the first episode in the season can be an hour long. Just opener lang na boom.
Yeah.
Yung 30 minutes na lang. Or yung sa huli, you end with a bang, di ba?
Yeah.
Since we've got that 22-minute speech in the last episode, let's make that a whole hour. That way we give them other stuff to look.
I want a whole episode. A whole episode of just Hank at the bar, and he's just talking to camera.
Oh man, I don't know. I'd fall asleep for that. Probably that'll be the boring stuff. You want to do that? You can. Can I say this? Am I gonna say this?
Go ahead.
Nainom na ako eh, diba? If you want to see Hank, just doing nothing at the bar, you just watch the live Senate hearings. Parang ganun na rin yun. I asked first if I could say it. I didn't say that he was a boxer.
I thought you were going to say add you on Facebook and.
No! Stop adding me. There's more than one Hank Sparrow on Facebook now.
Oh.
Check Spoiler Room 13. Actually, maybe no. If you want to keep saying Spoiler Room 13.
Oh, I did not know that.
I love the fans though. They're probably listening. They'll be like, "Ay, si Sir Hank, oh."
So I have a question, guys. Budge, Kajo, what did you guys think of the following changes? Okay, so I'm gonna name changes, and you can tell me what you thought of them. Nuno being a traitor.
It made sense from a story point of view.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not in the books.
Yeah, for the 6 episode arc that they want to tell, it worked. Yeah, pero I don't think mangyayari yun sa I don't think we'll do that. Kasi I totally tingin ko ba siya, ako kung agree ka. I think totally magkaiba yung personalities ng comic book Nuno and Netflix Nuno.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was. I think it was a giveaway in the press releases when he was called Nuno the Snitch. I think that was a slip up.
Budge. When I got the screeners, I had to sign something.
Yeah.
At the very bottom, it said, "Please do not give away the following spoilers. The fact that Uno is a traitor." And I'm like, what? I haven't watched this yet.
Spoiler! Spoiler! You just spoiled me.
You just spoiled the entire show for the screeners.
Every spoiler I knew going into it.
Well, at least you now know. I mean, but and sorry, just to go off on a tangent. I am so amazed at the PR protocols of Netflix.
Oh my god, yeah.
The way, especially when it comes to reminding me and Kajo of like, okay, you need to upload something now. Oh yeah. It's like, but yeah, it's I mean, if this is how they handle everything else around the world, I can see why it's such a well-oiled machine. Is what it is.
Yep.
And it just made it feel even close to home, because we were working, even though the team was mostly based in Singapore, they were mostly Pinoys that we were working with, the people behind the scenes. So really great. Going back to Nuno, I mean, I could see that they mashed up the Duende and Nuno as well, because the whole chocolate bit was introduced as a Duende thing and not a Nuno thing. In the comic book, Nuno has always just been a very helpful informant, and he never needed to be bribed with anything. It's the Duende that always needed to be bribed. Whenever si Amang Paso, every time Trese needs a favor from the Duendes. And that again comes from the stories I heard about, how do you appease a Duende? I've never heard the story of like appeasing the Nuno, right? But if you do want to appease a Nuno, supposedly you have to bring him rice with no salt, no spices, just rice and seafood. Supposedly is good. But there, so yeah, that's a change. I mean, but again, in a noir story, in a detective story, it just makes sense that you have a traitor in your midst, and it just makes it more exciting.
And for me, I thought it worked because in the comics, which is more episodic, Nuno is a useful plot device. But in the show, which I guess moving forward will be more a long-running story arc, if he's still there as a plot device, medyo cheating na. So maybe that works. But my favorite meme is when people said, "Oh, I Nuno is a traitor. Maybe we can introduce this Nuno." And it's the comic book Nuno.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that is a good question. Who will be the new informant in season 2? So,
okay, next change. Captain Guerrero dying. What did you think?
Is he dead?
I think Marco was introduced for a reason.
Oh. I loved how they devoted the whole episode to him. But maybe that's also, in the typical movie, it's like, what's the cliche? When the soldier or the cop shows a picture of his family, it's like, oh yeah, this is my last day at work. I can't wait to spend more time with my family. And he's the guy who dies. But yeah, it's great that it made it more meaningful, I think. I don't know. I mean, I feel that the way they also set it up was, it felt like Guerrero was standing in for Trese's father, as a father figure, right? I mean, she's got Hank as a father figure, and Captain Guerrero as well. So yeah, I mean, I guess they also, my guess, or I don't know if I'm remembering an earlier conversation, is they wanted to raise the stakes of that final battle. That, if Guerrero could die, then anyone else could die in that battle before Trese gets dissolved. Kaj, what do you think?
Yeah. Again, for that season, it worked. Kasi, well, justified naman. I think justified yung death ni Captain Guerrero, and that episode where they show him yung day-to-day niya. That was sweet. I was actually going to ask Budge if we can dedicate siguro one whole story to Captain Guerrero lang and Tapia, na meron silang adventure na sila lang, pero doesn't mean na mamamatay sila after ng story, pero kasi marami pang books, but for this 6 episode na story, tama lang yung move na they have to make.
Ikaw, Hank,
So, okay
did these
lang.
changes take you by surprise?
Yes. I wasn't expecting that. I kind of had okay. When I watched the Filipino dub, the guy that voiced Captain Guerrero, Apollo Abraham, I have known him for quite some time as personally as a friend, and I worked with him years ago when I was a sound engineer, and he was starting off as a voice talent as well. He was doing voices for ads and whatnot.
Yeah.
So a little bit of, I mean, I know I shouldn't, but I felt a little. To Guerrero, why? They didn't have to. I didn't. I don't know what the bigger picture is. I don't know what's gonna happen in season 2. So, are they gonna bring him back? I don't know. Or is that why Marco's there? I have no idea. But it just, the first gut reaction was like, no. It's like, you bastards. You killed Kenny. No, you killed Captain Guerrero.
You killed Captain Guerrero.
Yeah, right. So, yeah. But also, can I just react a little bit to what Kajo said regarding you want to do like sort of like a day in the life of Guerrero and Tapia? I think that'd be a great idea for the comic book. Might even be a great idea for season 2. I don't know.
Yeah.
Are Jay and Tanya listening? We don't know. Or the other people in Netflix? We don't know. But or the other writers like Zig and
Nick and Zig.
Vergara and Zig.
The Kambal.
Sort of, yeah. I did watch. Yeah, I watched the Trese After Dark thing. I thought that was cool, especially for people that. Well, some of my friends who did not read the comic books, they said like, it's nice to see that bit.
Yeah.
Because it gives you a little backgrounder.
Yeah.
Aside from the talkies, there's that bit of like, oh, the Manananggal are like this, the Tikbalang is this, the Aswang is this. So that sort of like grounded them a little bit, and like, okay, so this is the world we're about to watch. So
this is the next change I need to ask about. The change to the prophecy about the 5th child and the 6th child. What did you think of this change? Because spoil. I don't know why you people are watching this if you haven't watched the show. So
they're tuning in for Hank. They're watching this because, oh my God, it's Hank Sparrow. We gotta watch this. What is this about?
So in the comic, the 5th child dies at birth, and her soul is forged into the Sinag blade.
Yep.
This blade.
Yep. Oh.
This letter opener.
Oh, lucky you! You have the blade. Oh yes.
Well, if you lived in Luzon, you would have it too.
Yeah, I don't think Danish customs will allow that through.
And
a letter opener.
Letter opener.
It's a letter opener.
A magical letter opener.
No, seriously, it is solid enough to not be a toy, and sharp enough to cut through anything but paper.
Oh, diba?
It's a letter opener.
Yep.
So the 5th child dies at birth, and her soul is forged into the Sinag blade by a character who I'm going to bet will never be on the show. And then the 6th child, who is Alexandra, the question is, she's going to tip the balance one way or the other. In the show, it's different. The fifth child is the force for darkness, and Alexandra is the force for light, which to me creates a plot hole, Budge. The plot hole being, if Anton is the sixth child, why did he bother having a fifth child?
What do you mean? Why did he? Oh,
if he knew the prophecy that the fifth child of the sixth child was going
in connection to the prophecy, right?
If he knew the prophecy, why did he bother having a fifth child? That's my problem with this change.
Do we really?
Can I just make a point? I mean, maybe did I get this wrong? But aren't in the series aren't Sinag and Trese, di ba kambal din sila?
Yeah, they're twins. Yeah.
So maybe when they were doing it, he was thinking, okay, you know what? I'll stop at 5, right? No, like after this, there's a prophecy. I'm going to stop at this.
But no, twins.
But oh shit.
Yeah, that was the entire thought.
Wala naman sa lahi namin yung kambal eh. Diba? So, okay lang. Eto na last. Diba? Because it's, yung asawa mo naman, yung asawa mo si Pussycat Dolls eh. Diba? Voiced by.
You wish your mother were
voiced by the English dub. So,
wait,
but
I have to ask this question. I think this question has been asked. I don't think it's ever been answered. I know Anton is the sixth child, and therefore Alexander is the sixth child of the sixth child. Is Miranda also the sixth child?
We don't know.
Is her name Miranda or Melinda?
We don't know.
Cheers!
Cheers!
It depends what book you're reading, Duy. I can't wait to just call her MM in the next book.
MM?
Miranda
Melinda.
Oh, it's like a first name, second name. Oh, I see what you did there.
Because she's been called Miranda and she's been called Melinda, and they didn't catch it. So the only way to reconcile this is if her full name
is Miranda Melinda.
You know, in college, all my friends called me Melinda, but I'm really Miranda.
Yeah. And remember, the first time it was mentioned, I think it was Lolo Trese talking about it. You can't trust the old man. You know, he might have gotten it wrong. And it's like Anton saying, no, Dad. How many times I have to tell you it's Miranda, not Melinda? We'll just put it in the book. Don't worry about it.
Medyo hard of hearing na si Lolo Trese. A little bit of like...
So what did you guys think of the change?
Lo! I see it.
Mimi! Yes. Mimi, dito. Alika dito, Mimi. It's just, we've lost, yeah.
Mimi.
Yeah. Ano nga ulit pangalan mo? Iha, alika dito.
Miranda po. Melinda, okay.
Right. He's calling her by a different name, but she's like, you know what?
You just keep every
Forget
book.
it. You know, whatever you want, old man. Go ahead. Call me whatever you want. Sige na.
We'll just keep changing her name every book. I mean, I think that was it was an interesting and again, me and Kajo have not had a debrief session with the writers about, you know, what was the whole thought process behind it. I got to read the script, so definitely I knew about this change coming before they started animating it. But again, you know, in the if your jump off point is the book, they did say that there were 7 seers and that there were essentially 7 different, you know, prophecies, but that supposedly they agreed on one thing, that the 6th child would be the one that would tip the balance, right? So it's an interesting approach to, you know, reinterpreting the prophecy. and giving more reason for Trese's adding to the burden of Trese. Because I think one of the things they've also done pretty well in the anime, which we didn't do in the book, or we don't do so much of it, is showing you Trese's struggle to take on this family duty of this responsibility of being babaylan mandirigma. And yeah, this new piece of information that's been given to her just adds to that. So it I feel that it shows her strength and her character to be able to figure out even though I've been given this piece of information, this is what I need to do. So I think it's an interesting way to just show how the character progresses, or how the character has continued to evolve or grow, for that matter, into accepting this role of being babaylan mandirigma.
Oh, Haj.
I think interesting in the twist that to the prophecy. I think interesting yung approach na ginawa nila. But I have a problem with that. The problem is that I don't 100% trust Talagbusaw. I don't think everything he said was true. Yes, I think some parts are parang he mixed it up. Some are true, tapos some are para yung agenda niya ma-push niya, ganun. So yeah, we'll see kung may season 2 kung talaga bang.
Because if you watch it, Duy, you'll see a moment where the Talagbusaw goes, and then the fifth child is the real bad guy. You can see him hesitate. He was just making it up as he was going along.
Someone messaged me after that, like one of my friends, tapos sabi niya, wait, these two stories by Anton and Talagbusaw are contradictory. So one of them is lying. And I'm like, one of them is the villain.
But isn't that the way things are sometimes in the real world? Like, you talk to two different countries on let's say opposite sides of a war, and stories vary radically as to which side of which side is telling it. I mean, why will it not translate into Anton and Talagbusaw?
So one of the things that the show does that you didn't do so much of in the comic is it leaves things wide open. So the way Talagbusaw is imprisoned in the comic, I feel is kind of permanent, where he's forever stuck in a war that he will forever fight. But the way he's stuck in the show, I feel like he will easily come back in season 2. So how much of this is reflective of the fact that when you guys created the comic at first, you really didn't mean for it to be, a long-running story, or, this started as a 30 peso Xeroxed on bond paper, stapled in the office, created by, drawn by Kajo during lunch break comic.
Actually, I've known these two guys for a long time, and I have to tell you, everything that's happened in Trese has been meticulously planned out. Planado yan.
I feel like Talagbusaw.
Ajaya, no.
You're
Matagal
making
na
this up.
lahat ng pati yung pangalan ni Miranda and Melinda. All of that has been, I mean, these are like little things, and then later on it'll pay off. Just you wait.
You just wait.
If there's anything about and I have to go back to that and again, if there's one thing if I had a time machine and I could travel back in time and like I could snatch one object from history, you know, it wouldn't be some important historical artifact. It would be that cell phone, which where Kajo sent me text messages. Part of the plan, when Kajo said, send me, so, and this is a story I've been repeating too many times, right? Of like 20-page script, I'll do it in 20 days. Just send me the script. Part of that text was, Kajo said, because after 10 months, we would have a 200-page graphic novel. So Kajo already said, if we keep doing this on a monthly schedule, we would have a 200-page graphic novel in our hands. And again, you know, it was the thought of that disbelief that we could do. So it even though that was Kajo's grand plan, I was also thinking, what if we don't get to reach issue 10, right? What if on the off chance we don't get to reach issue 10 and we get to do maybe just 3 issues? And that's why the episodic nature of Trese came about, thinking that we might, you know, the day job might just take over and we'd never get to go back to this ever again. Then at least we can say, hey, look, 3 issues, you can read it. And if you ever ask us where the next issue is, we'll say, no, that it ends in issue 3, right? Because it's episodic. But the thing is, I think by the time we got to issue 8 or 9, that's when Kajo said, Buds, baka kaya natin paabutin hanggang case 13. So that became a framework, which again contributed to the whole, you know, now we need a big bad. And it just so happened, again, this whole thought of, okay, now Trese will cash in on the favors that she got. So she goes back to the Tikbalang tribe. The Wind tribe is easy to bribe, you know, and so on and so. And of course, she even tries to get the Bagyon tribe on her side because of what was happening. But there, so you know, the attempt to try and tell the Kambal's origin, I attempted to tell it in 20 pages. So in theory, if I succeeded in telling the Kambal's origin in 20 pages, book 3 would have been more episodic stuff. It would have been like, you know, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. It would have been 5 episodic stories. But it's just that every time I hit the 20th page, their story was, I couldn't, you know, they had more to tell. So I just kept bumping it up more and more and more. And funnily enough, book 3 is a 200-page graphic novel. 164.
Yeah, 164.
So Kajo's prediction, or you know, him saying, here's our target, here's what we should do, actually came true.
It's like people who work in an ad company. So tell me something, guys. The way that each episode was, they put together 2 stories and then they stitched them together. I was stupid and read the books a month before I watched them, so I couldn't unsee the stitches. Here's a note to everybody watching this show. When you're about to watch something, don't read the source material directly beforehand.
Yes.
It's never good. It will never work. But having made those stories, how did you feel? Because for me, one of the bits of genius when I watched it the second time. The first time I was like, what? How did they tie these 2 together? But the one where they tied together, I think it's episode 2. So they tied together the rules
of the race
with the Meralco building.
With Live Well Village, yes.
With the Live Well Village. And I thought, well, that makes sense because those actually are close to each other. Right? Because the rules of the race takes place on what? Is it on EDSA?
Hi.
It's
Yeah,
on C5, yeah.
C5.
So it's actually close to each other.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that makes sense because the amount of travel she does is actually very small. So how did how did you feel about them stitching those stories together?
I liked it. They did it also with the first episode, which is 13 Stations and Budjette Drive. I was amazed at how they found a theme for each one. It's a structure that I would not have tried in the comic book because of the 20-page limit. But it is a structure I know CSI loves to do that. See, they call it an A story and a B story, right? So the A story is usually Grissom because he's like the lead detective. And then you usually have like a side story that gets solved faster. Sometimes in some episode, they also, create a direct connection between the two cases. So yeah, I mean, in the case of how they did it, it was great that the way Jay explains it, he wanted the first one to be all about the aswang. So that's the big reason why the two aswang stories got put together. Tanya just loves 13 Stations. And I've heard it mentioned in other interviews about how 13 Stations is a gateway story for Trese. And funnily enough, that was the thinking behind it because it was created for Manila Noir. And the thinking there was, this is going to be the first time Trese will be put in a US publication. And we wanted to make sure the story made sense to a brand new reader who's never read Trese. What I didn't realize that we ended up doing was we had incorporated aspects of folklore, which is all of the aswang stuff, and then that because of Ibu, we had now incorporated the mythological side of Trese. So it did become a very nice way to show, here's the Trese playing field, right? Because in most stories, it's the monster of the week formula is what it does. So, but in this case, it suddenly showed you Trese can deal with the low lives of the aswang and can deal with, can go toe to toe with the goddess of death, right? And then in the middle, you've got Philippine politicians. I don't know what that. Where is that in the spectrum of things?
But it works.
Where is that in the spectrum of things? Hank, where is that in the spectrum of things?
I did not expect also. I mean, if we're talking about episode 1, yeah, guys, spoilers. But yeah, episode 1, I did not expect the 13 Stations story and the Budjette Drive murder story. I was like, but when I was watching it, luckily, I unlike Duy, I was smart enough not to reread my entire collection of Trese books from.
I'm a dumbass.
But because I had done that previously before for a movie, I reread the book like a week before the movie came out, and I was just like, and after that I realized, this is stupid. I was watching the movie in the theater and it was like comparing, mistake. So when they did it, I was like, hey, they're doing, and the stitches were not as evident, right? I knew where they got 13 Stations. I knew the Budjette story. Of course, everybody knows the Budjette story. That's the first one they hit you with in the books, right? And what the anime did for me was just like, wow, puede pala, diba? And then they put it all together, diba? And then they although some of my friends that have not that have not read the comic books or they're not that familiar with the comic books, they're like, that first episode's a lot to take in. That's
what everyone says. Yeah,
it's an info dump, right? Even for people that are familiar with the source material, that more so if you read all the books before you. I'm sorry, Doy, but yeah, right? Diba? Masisira ka talaga ulo mo. You're like, oh my God, no! But that being said, Netflix has a way of doing that. I mean, they did that with Witcher. if you watch the first episode of Witcher, it sort of does that as well. So Netflix has a thing about that. But again, I'm gonna go back to it. Would have been all solved if they just gave us another episode.
Look. Here's what I'm gonna say.
I like the 8th episode idea, man. I'm liking it. I'm really, really liking it.
Here's what I'm gonna say. I struggle with a lot of anime because so much anime is so long and decompressed, which is fine if you have the time.
Yeah,
it's fine if you have the time, but if I'm watching Slam Dunk, I don't really want to spend the whole episode thinking about what's going on in the guy's head while he's making the shot. Like 10 minutes. So it's nice to finally have a show where my complaint is this went too fast.
The opposite. Yes. Actually, that's my word for it. My word for it is busog. Every episode is like bursting at the seams with everything, information, characters, scenery, Manila. I mean, just Manila hitting you the way Manila is, as opposed to other depictions of Manila, previous depictions of Manila I've seen, both in live action,
sanitized versions of Manila,
or just weird versions. Anyway,
Oh, that's interesting.
For me, this Manila is the Manila I live in, right? I mean,
this Manila.
May kilala akong mga aswang din na but mga maligno. Dami kong kilala maligno. But you know what I'm talking about, right?
This Manila only has one difference from the Manila I know. There's not enough traffic.
Well,
everyone's moving. That's it.
Well, except for the MRT.
Except for the MRT, which was perfect to start.
That's how it works. That's real talk right there, man. That's welcome to my city.
I would not have thought that resonated so much with everyone. That whole scene, and it's great that they used it for the trailer. It's great that was the opening sequence. It's just the perfect opening scene for Trese. And again, it's as Jay mentioned in interviews, it was such for everyone else, it's a typical day. But the moment he heard that, he said, "Oh, perfect opening for a horror movie."
And
so
Budge,
so an outsider's point of view helped figure that out.
Budge, there is a Trese LED by the Guadalupe station.
Oh, really? Ooh, very cool.
In a way, I just realized this, but sometimes in other movies about New York, they would joke about the trains never being on time, right? So in a way, this is our version of, this is our version of the subways not being on time or the trains not being always on time.
Yeah,
it's a trope. Sorry to say, but it's a trope. The MRT breaking down is a trope.
But it's never been used, I think.
That's the Manila we live in, right?
And turns out, and I just discovered it the other day, that it turns out there was a Shake, Rattle, and Roll episode about the LRT. So I haven't seen it, but it turns out that was like a favorite. That's like for fans who watch Shake, Rattle, and Roll, that's one of the things that they point, next to the Manananggal and Frigidaire, they point out to the LRT episode of Shake, Rattle, and Roll. So
come on, man. I mean, Shake, Rattle, and Roll has made an episode on everything. Na tayong lahat, di ba? I mean, how many what have they not done?
I'll tell you guys, my favorite thing about the show, as good as much as I love so much about the show, but my favorite thing about the show is just the way it depicted Manila. Because I've said this in multiple platforms. I grew up reading Marvel comics with Marvel New York. So when I finally got to New York, when I finally visited New York, it was like visiting a mythical place. Because for me, New York was as real as Metropolis, as Gotham City, as Asgard. Maybe not Asgard. But so now I'm imagining a lot of younger people watching the show and being like and seeing it, and one day they will visit Manila and they will be like, "This is that place from Trese."
Yeah.
Boy, when you were in New York, did you look for the Baxter Building? Diba? Ne, para, diba? Para
That's a
ito yung
very good point.
Daily Bugle to, alam ko to. Selfie.
The Flatiron for the Daily
Yeah.
Bugle. Yeah. Plus also Rockefeller Center. Every time it showed up in a movie afterwards, I was like, I know that place. I've been there. Right?
But it's good. I hope they have the same feel with Manila, because that's another thing I liked about what the anime really did. What you see on the pages of the comic book, Manila is a character in the comic book as well.
Yes.
Right? They translated that very well into color, into a colored animation. You know, I've always felt that like Manila was a character as well, both in the comic book and now also in the anime series. Parang they kept that, and you know, good job. But again, like I said, the guys that worked on the show, feeling ko mga fans din yan, mga long time, alam mo yan, hindi mo, pare hindi, kailangan yung Manila, we have to portray it like this, diba? Kasi, you know,
yeah,
kita mo yung puso eh, nandun yung puso nila. You know what I mean?
Actually, that's a question somebody asked me. Or whether it's the anime or the comic, do you guys have any plans to take Trese out of Manila?
Yes, we're already doing it. Well, we did it once with the story of the boxer in Davao.
Which will that ever be adapted into the anime?
It would be great if they can find a way.
They're gonna make Hank the Bartender.
Are they gonna make Hank the boxer?
He was a boxer before he was a bartender. I see it happening. I can feel it in my bones. I'm just fearless prediction. You know, I may be wrong. I'm putting it out there. You know,
Okay.
let's
I say, why not? Go ahead and make Hank the
If you
boxer.
look at Hank in the anime series, dude, ang pangit niya. Ang pangit niya. Parang boxer. No, boxer. Napadami yung...
Yeah.
Yung mukha yung pinapasangga. He uses his face to block those blows. Right? So it kind of fits. Right? It kind of fits. But this is all speculation on my part. By no way is this canon.
No.
I am not canon anymore, by the way.
And I think I had to look back, and I realized that sa book 1, 2, and 3, Hank did not have this trademark look, diba? We only started doing it
This one just came out in 6. Yeah.
Book 6 ba?
Book 6 lang, the war book. Well, I affectionately refer to it as the war book.
Oh, and they didn't do the triple barrel shotgun as well.
No, they didn't.
Because that was book 6. That's right. They were basing it on.
I did love episode 3. I loved episode 3. I mean, you know, even if I feel like, you know, it's like
I also loved episode 3. That was I think that was my favorite episode.
Because in a way, you can watch it by itself and not need to watch anything before or after, I feel. Right? I mean, it's standalone. It's
So,
I felt.
I have a question for you, Hank.
Diba parang tapos yung kwento?
I have a question for you, Hank Sparrow, the real Hank Sparrow. Who is your Nova Aurora? Who would you go?
Okay,
Who
honestly,
would
there's
make
more
you
than,
say the words? Who would make you say the words? Fan ako pero hindi katulad nila, hindi ako weirdo.
by really, I'm gonna say his name again because I'm really liking this guy, John Briones in the English dub. It's like I'm not a stalker kind of fan. I'm just like a regular fan, right? He's doing all the little things and like he knows everything about her backstory. It's like, diba? Hindi, friends lang sila, hindi sila. In real life, okay, this is true. That's why I kind of enjoy that bit, because I didn't speak to anybody from Netflix or Jay's team or anything, but I really saw myself in that bit where, and it did happen to me twice with two different lovely ladies of Philippine cinema, like that I met in real life, and I was sort of like a little
Yes.
watching all your movies in high school. Both Chanda Romero.
Ah.
Okay, kids, you can Google her, Chanda Romero, and Maria Isabel Lopez. Both of whom I met in person, and I was a little bit, God, she's sitting in my bar.
Oh, at the bar. Oh.
Drink at Verve Room. My girlfriend at the time had met her and convinced her to come back to the Verve Room, which is sort of based on the Diabolical. Oh no, sorry.
Yes.
The Verve Room was based on the Diabolical. No, the Diabolical was based on the Verve Room. I'm sorry. My glass is empty.
In the It's a Small World category, the Verve Room is the first bar I ever went to. I was 16.
Oh, make us feel old.
I'm not going to say if Hank served me a drink.
I did. I'll say it. It's okay. They can't lock me up now.
Of course, that was a long time ago. It doesn't matter.
Statute of limitations, 20 plus years. What is it? May 30 years.
It's definitely been 20
statute of limitations. Serving alcohol to a minor. But yeah, but when she was sitting in front of me, I was just like, oh my God, I used to watch all your movies. And she was like, and all her drinks, I swear, they were on the house that night. I was like, whatever you want, and she's like, and I'm like, Miss Romero, can you please just call me Chanda? I feel weird. I'm drinking with young people, and oh my God,
yes. See?
Ang galing niya. I mean, she was just like perfect, a lady and suave, and at the time she could drink, but I mean, and she could hold it. I mean, suave pa rin siya. She was just all elegant. She did not lose any ounce of elegance as she drank.
So you heard it here first, folks. Hank in the anime is in fact Hank in real life.
Some parts. I mean, I don't own anything in lavender. Right? Lavender. I don't drive in real life. I don't even have a driver's license.
So speaking of episode 3, I was a little worried about them adapting episode 3. Because episode 3 originally, I feel like it had some social connotations that might have not landed very well or might not have been interpreted very well. And then they changed it, and I was like, oh, they toned it down. And then the end of episode 3 came, and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
She just killed that baby.
Yeah. That was also
literally, she just killed that baby.
Did you see that meme? Did you guys have you seen that meme?
What's the meme?
Unlike so it's referring to Trese, and it's all screenshots from the show, and it's like, who's the real villain? And then they show you Nuno, and then did they show the mayor? Definitely they showed Talagbusao. Yes. Maybe they showed the mayor. Maybe they showed Talagbusao, and at the very end, it's Nova Aurora, right? And then I'm not gonna repeat it because there's some major profanity. But then again, if you watch the show, there's major profanity on there too.
Go ahead.
Right? Okay. Actor says, "Putang ina mo, pinatay mo." Just at the very end, right? Because I mean, I forget the other comments with Nuno. It's like parang chuchuka or something, or like you're a snitch, or something like that. So it's all in Tagalog, and then I think with Talagbusao, it's like ito talaga yung pinuno ng lahat ng mga something like that, diba? And at the very end, it's Nova with diba? Putang ina mo, pinatay.
That was also your favorite episode, right, Gaj?
Yep.
Talaga?
Yep. episode 3, ang galing the way they stitched the Nova Aurora story and then yung Chanak story. Galing ng pagkatahe. And also, trivia, hindi ko alam kung sinadya nila or not, pero regarding yung shotgun ni Hank, remember there was a scene na slinash nung Chanak yung shotgun niya.
Yes.
So, may way na ma-connect nila, mabuo pa ni Hank yung shotgun niya. This time with triple barrel na, di ba?
Okay. So I see how you're. Yes. Okay. Pwede pang itahi yun, no? Parang.
Pwede pa.
When they repair it, they upgrade it.
Upgrade.
Barrel to. Although I don't know if I can say my tagline from the comic book because it's.
Go ahead.
No, because it's really. I mean, I don't know if they can use it.
I don't know if they can use it in the anime.
Although in the anime, and this is nowhere in the books, because nowhere in the books do you see Hank driving around in a car, right?
No.
In the anime, there's a rosary hanging from the mirror, which is also very Pinoy, which I like. But I was like a little, oh wow, that's a religious symbol. But
you're wearing one right now.
Actually, I'm not. It looks like it's beads, but the very end is not a cross. It's like some little charms.
Okay.
Oh, okay. There you go.
It's a key and like a little tooth thing. This is the key to the liquor cabinet in the Diabolical.
Of course it is.
Also known as my happy place. The liquor cabinet.
Yes.
So, episode 3, I think, for me, it was one of the best ones because one of the criticisms I've heard about the show is that it doesn't actually explain the monsters. Like the Ablaze version does, right? The Ablaze version explains it. So for me, that is a criticism that annoys me because for me, I watch a lot of American stuff and nobody ever says I have to, they have to explain it to me. I just have to figure it out as I go along. So for me, it's like if you just execute it and people find it interesting, they will research what it is. And a Chanak is the second thing, I think, is the second monster in Filipino culture, Filipino mythology, that will really get people interested. Oh my God, what is a Chanak? The first one is a Manananggal, which there kind of was, but
kind of
there wasn't really.
No.
Sort of, kinda. It was a sort of kind of thing.
So for me, that was it. But Budge, what was your favorite episode?
Yeah, it's also the same. It's episode 3, probably followed by 4. Okay. So yeah, same great way they stitched it together. Great twist in the end. And the thing is, they still picked up, and what I liked about it was they did pick up that moment in the comic book. Because in the comic book, Nova Aurora had her moment in the spotlight, right? So when she was at the court, giving her testimony, it was in effect her shining moment as an actress.
Yeah.
And then she dies, right? Which is what the Duende essentially promised her. So in a way, they found a darker way to present that aspect of her, that, she's really just so consumed by this thought of, I want to be the best actress ever. And that to her, she was giving the performance of a lifetime when she lured the Chanak to its death. So when I was, so a little backstory there was, again, the security measures and the confidentiality for Trese is so strict. I had to read the scripts at Tanya's house. So I was seated at the table and she was like at the living room, and then I reached that part where Nova Aurora starts to, attack the Chana, and I went, and then Tanya goes, "Did you reach that part?" I said, "Yes."
I'm so glad I wasn't the only one because I was like, "Oh my God."
Yeah. That's why for me the meme really hit home, right?
Yeah.
Wow. And what really got me was like after that whole thing, she actually turns around and asks, I think she asks Hank,
Yeah.
or was it? I think Hank and Trese. Was it Trese?
Yeah.
And
They were both
see,
there. They were
the
both there.
knife, because she was stabbing it so violently, the knife blade had broken,
Mhm.
right? Because
Mhm.
it had jagged na yung edge, and she's like, she's got, you know, the blood on her face, and she's like, "Kumusta performance ko?" And I'm just like, "Fuck that!"
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my
Yeah.
god, yeah.
Speaking of actresses and performances,
Mm.
Eto na.
okay. So there's been a lot of talk about Liza Soberano. And a lot of people, you know, there's the you should have cast a real voice actress camp. There's the she's not good at it camp. There's the she's actually good at it camp. What do you guys think about this whole discourse?
Would it? I guess it was expected that there would be a whole lot of discussion. I was kind of hoping that after people have seen the performance, that they would settle down. I guess they haven't. I don't know. I can't compare it to anything else. But you know, I think, um, and I've only seen one episode in Filipino. So again, I think the way she delivered, or you know, her performance was how exactly I've been imagining Trese, you know, speaking whenever I write the lines. Same with Shay Mitchell. So I think she delivered, you know, as far as the performance is concerned. And yeah, I mean, there are so many reasons, and I'm sure there are so many reasons why that decision was made. And you know, a lot of people just have preconceived notions on what is supposedly makes for the best, you know, anime production. So sure, I guess the true test is, you know, how well will this show rate, and do we get the season two? Even the best comic books out there have gotten criticism, and I remember Jeff Loeb saying, "Yes, we get all of this negative press about our comic book, but look, it's in the top 10. So someone seems to be buying it, even though all of these people are complaining. So which metric do you want to look at the end of the day?"
Budge, if you want to talk about comic books, everybody, like, if you just go on the internet, everybody hates big events. And then if you go to the sales charts, big big events are the ones at the top. Kajo, what did you think of the voice performances?
Si Shay, I've only seen one episode naman in English. So far, nagustuhan ko yung performance si Shay. A little bit, hindi lang comfortable dun sa surrounding characters. Siguro, na-off ako dun sa accent.
That I want to talk
Konti.
about that too, actually. So
yung kay Liza naman, wala akong complaint masyado kasi katulad ng sinabi ni Budge, yun yung na-imagine ko, that's the voice, that's that tone na na-imagine ko na how Alexandra Trese would talk, kasi that's how Motoko Kusanagi speaks dun sa Ghost in the Shell na movie. So, ganun na-imagine ko. Oh, but in Filipino. So, hindi ko alam kung siya rin nag-voice ng English, kung talagang perfect yung voice. Pero wala akong complaint sa performance ni Liza.
Hank?
Okay siya sa
If we're just going to talk about Liza and Shay, I like them both. You know, I do believe that Liza, I liked her stoic how do you say it? Mga stoic delivery niya. Because it did feel like the comic book. You know, the way she was voicing it, I felt like, okay, that's the way I read her in the comic book, right? And so yeah, I mean, I understand that the whole, like, you know, they should have gotten a voice down to, no, but I also understand that there, like what Budjette said, there are so many reasons now why they got Liza instead of somebody else. You know, I'm sure. Yung kay Shay Mitchell naman, I liked it because when she delivered it, maybe not a stoic, but there's another side of Alexandra Trese that I felt was explored or that she showed with her performance, which is a more human side. So not a stoic, right? So the vulnerabilities a little bit, and it's funny. It's because the visuals are
a little different. Yeah.
Yes, there's subtleties there, and the visuals are the same. Of course, they're the same, right?
Yeah.
So it's all in the performance. And I've seen other people like, you know, they've posted other voice actresses or another actress as well.
Which is rude, by the way. Don't do that.
Okay, but I watched it and I'm like, okay, pwede rin, diba? I'm not saying which one is better. I mean, I'm sure everybody has their own preference, right? But
baka mag-away pa yung dalawa after ano.
Yeah. Or, well, okay, that's rude, but then have you guys also seen other people na I'm gonna digress a little bit to the music, still connected to the sound.
Yugto, right?
Linalatagan ng, or do you want to talk about
it?
Yeah, I saw that
too. Linalatagan ng ibang music yung opening sequence.
Yeah.
Okay, pwede rin, di ba? Pero ako, gusto ko rin yun eh. I mean, I liked what I saw on the show.
Yeah.
What they gave us, even UDD, about the ending thing. I didn't know that it goes into English. Because when you watch
Hank, as somebody who books bands and everything, what do you feel about UDD being, you know, about the show getting UDD? Yeah.
But because like when you watch the show, parang it jumps to the next episode. Medyo hindi pa tapos yung credits. Ganun yung Netflix, di ba? Or there's an option where, you know, either you click watch next episode or watch credits, I think, or something like that. Diba? May ganun when you get to the end of each episode, right? And of course, I'm like, I need two more, diba? So, and I didn't know until the last episode where I'm watching the whole end credits, it goes into English, like halfway through. I'm like, wow, that's really nice, a nice touch. I liked it, you know, which is a bit of a statement on Trese as well, because yes, it is Filipino, but it was also written predominantly in English and all that. So I like that. The hood in the beginning, I've heard different. I didn't know my initial reaction was I liked it.
Yeah.
Pasok,
yeah,
works.
Me too.
But then when somebody told me, oh, you know what, it's a song about this and that. Okay, that works. And then some people are saying no, parang hindi saktong swak the music for the show because because of what it means, which is I think it's a harvesting song. So
it's a celebratory song.
Yes. Yeah. You know, but it's not meant for horror, basically, right? But it just seemed to fit, right? When I didn't understand what this and you know, which is I guess like a shortcoming on my side because syempre kasama sa kultura natin and it's Filipino, I'm Filipino, but hindi ko alam yun. I don't know this particular folk song or I don't know, but the first time I saw it, I'm like, damn, you know, it sounds legit, di ba? Pinoy na Pinoy, it works for me, di ba? And then the whole theme of like it's for, you know, because there's a mystic. It's not the usual thing you'd hear on the radio as well, right? It's very, very different. So sa akin, pasok na pasok yung music.
I have a friend who's half Ifugao, and her whole engagement ceremony was in Ifugao, so I went up there. They actually sang the Hood. So, and I, of course, I don't remember it because that was 10 years ago. But then when she watched the show, she was like, "Wait, I know this chant. This is they sang this at my engagement ceremony, and I'm like, I was drunk during your engagement ceremony, so but okay.
But I don't know if
Were you drinking tapoy?
Yung ano,
Yung tapoy.
yung rice wine nila.
Yeah.
Tapoy.
Tapoy.
Basi.
Yes.
Sorry, I love that stuff.
No. Baya.
Oh, okay, yeah. All right.
Anyway, but you were asking.
No, I don't know if I interpreted the lyrics right. Somebody uploaded the English lyrics of the Hood Hood, and it talks about a sky god falling in love with a mortal woman and bringing a fruit from sky world, but that humans couldn't eat it. So that's why the sky god, because he fell in love with a woman, taught humans how to plant rice, and hence that's how they learned how to plant rice. So it's not exactly in a way it kind of connects to Trese. It's not an exact fit, but it is about an interaction between the two worlds. So
you can make it work. Yes.
Yeah.
No, I'm serious. It can work.
So let me tell you something about that.
Parang talagbusaw Ramona.
But anyway, going back to the voice acting, right? I have a few things that I want to run by you guys and see what you guys think of it. One is when I first started to watch it in Tagalog, I was bothered by Liza's delivery. And then I thought to myself, would I be bothered if I didn't know she was Liza Soberano? And in my head, I was like, I think I'm just bothered because I cannot unhear the actress Liza Soberano. So what do you think about that? Like if they didn't know that this was famous actress Liza Soberano, do you think it would have gotten this level of discourse?
Yeah, I think my knee-jerk reaction to that is I've experienced that watching some cartoons or animated movies wherein I only find out afterwards, oh, it was that guy. So it was I think that's exactly what people are experiencing, Duy. It's they come in with a preconceived thought of it's going to be bad because they know who the actress is, and therefore it just colors the way they experience the whole show. But yeah, maybe, and again, I go back to my favorite example of watching Batman Adventures for the first time.
Right, yeah.
I did not know it was Mark Hamill. And
what if you knew? What if you knew it was Mark Hamill? Do you think? How do you think you would have reacted?
I think it would have taken me. I'm guessing here because I'm guessing they would take it. I would have been in disbelief that it was Mark Hamill, right? It made me wonder why I picked up what was that? Son of the Demon comic book, and it had an introduction by Mark Hamill. So back then, I was wondering why would they get Luke Skywalker guy to write an intro to a Batman comic book, and I think it came out around the same time. So there wasn't, for me, that would have been a disconnect if they were promoting, Mark Hamill starring as the Joker. So, if they made a big deal out of it, but they didn't, right? They put more focus on brand new animated series, Batman done in this very, mature style or inspired by Tim Burton's movies. So I think we carry these preconceived notions when we watch things when we know this or that actor is portraying those characters.
You know what it is for me? It's like Ben Affleck portraying Batman. It's like I cannot unsee Ben Affleck. He's Ben Affleck. Like, so what do you guys think? Like if people did not know that Liza was portraying this, do you think the discourse would be anywhere near as big or?
Probably not. I agree with Budjette. Probably not. But we all know. Well, I don't know if we all know, but I personally feel that that's partly why they got her.
I
They
agree.
needed to make some noise. Star power, right? It's a Pinoy formula. I don't know if that was part of Netflix's, strategy as well. But and the good thing about it is that I am not very familiar with Liza
Liza,
Soberano,
yeah.
and her work before. I'm so for me it was sort of like, well, okay, so let's just see what she's got. Wala masyadong, ay nako, showbiz yan, or I didn't have any those preconceived, that because I really tried to approach it as the whole show actually as, what's the word, as neutral as I could be, which probably not very well, because I mean, there's a certain bartender based on a certain guy I know, but
Mhm.
no, because I really want to see, like, is this something that I would truly like, regardless of the guys that wrote it. Now I know the guy that wrote the comic book and that drew the comic book. That there's a guy in there that kind of reminds me of somebody I know also. So actually there's a lot, but I'm just like, I just want to approach the show and say, like, do I like it? Do I honestly just like it for what it is, as opposed to, and then nandiyan si I just put their names together. Nandiyan si Bajo. When you put Budge and Kajo, if you're gonna ship the two together, let's not do that, fans. Diba? Budget and Kajo, diba? Would I still like it? Diba? And I realized I did still like it. So yeah, the Liza Soberano thing did not play so much for me, but I see why they did it.
Yeah.
That's one thing I can say though, is like, I feel like, especially after watching the English dub with Shay Mitchell, okay yung ginawa ni Liza, but I feel like nakulangan ako ng konti, or it could have been improved. There's a lot of room for, I felt that,
I felt like the voice itself was fine, and then we could just improve the delivery.
Yep.
Right.
Mm.
So,
Mm.
but you know what? All of these things are fixable for season 2.
Mhm.
For me, it's kind of like moot as well, because my three, I have like, I mean, I'm summing it all up, like people's reactions in 3 sentences. It's like, everybody loves Trese. Everybody wants to nitpick Trese, but everybody loves Trese. I mean, just in those 3 sentences. Oh, di ba, ang dami yung sinasabi, pero
Yeah.
like,
Good
they're
point.
saying, even on the fan pages, right? They're saying so many things. Like, oh my God, they should have
so many
done that.
things.
And what about this?
Yeah,
And like,
that's a good
it's not like that in the books. And oh my God, I don't believe they did this to this character. Like, why did they do that? And then they did this. And you know what? I'm gonna watch it again just to make sure. Good, that's good. Just watch it again. Just keep watching it, because I've watched it about six times. In about a week.
Every
So maybe-
criticism I've seen has been completely fixable. It's been like, oh, Liza needs to deliver this more. Oh, we need
Yes.
more episodes.
Hindi na fundamental na, naku, hindi na maayos yan. Diba? Everything can be, ma-adjust pa yan. Diba? Pwedeng habulin. Diba? We can fix it in post. So to speak. I mean, to coin a term that diba?
Production.
Movie people use. Pero yeah, it's not the be all and the end all, right? I just want to see season 2, man.
Me too.
Just give me that.
Me
Diba?
too. Here's another thing that I wanted to ask, because I had this conversation with someone on Facebook 2 days ago. Somebody said, I wish there was an explanation for why Alexandra Trese is so stoic. And I'm like, there's no explanation for why Batman is so stoic. For me, it's like, why do we need to have like one big heavy reason for somebody to have the personality that they have, right? Sometimes you're just your personality. Period.
Yep. Yep. I think I mean these days, like in the modern day, in the BBC version of Sherlock, they what was that famous line? He's something something sociopath, a fully functioning
He's
something sociopath. I mean
high
they
functioning sociopath.
yes, that famous line that's been memed. But I don't think Conan Doyle ever thought of it that way. For him, it's here's his character, a detective that's just has his superpower is his powers of observation and connecting the dots to things, and his powers of deduction, and he and that's how he portrays it. I think it's just these days, yeah, we're always trying to find a rationale for why are they like that. They it seems like it's a need for whether it's the writers or the readers to portray that. There was a series I watched called The Bridge, which is a Danish Swedish crime story, and the female detective there is also someone who is I think I don't know if she's a sociopath or she just has this what do you call this? The way they portray her is also she's no nonsense in the way she investigates, and that's what completely throws off her partner, who's very emotional and very invested in things, and she's not. She's just very cold, and she just decides, I need to solve this case. And yeah, we didn't need to go into their backstory. We didn't need to see their family history or their childhood to know why they're like that. They're just like that, right? So yes, but yes, in this case, we do get to see what kind of childhood she had.
But I think for a lot of fans, for some people or most people, I think they feel like they need that backstory to make sense. Why are they like that? But yes, there are really just some people that are like, well, they're just like that, right? But for a lot of people, they find it interesting to see that backstory. Ay, kaya pala siya ganun. Or he's like that because, he lost both his parents in Crime Alley
Yes.
at a very young age. No, I mean, for some people, that's for me, I'm just like, nah, man, it's just cool. I'll take him for, you don't need to tell me, the whole backstory. I'm good with it. But like I said, for some people, they need that, or they want that.
Yeah.
But kanya-kanyang enjoyment lang yan, how they take from it. But I'm with you guys. I'm like, I'll take her. I'll take it. I'm taking it. Let's go. We only have 6 episodes. We should have about 8, but we only have 6. So let's get on with the story. Let's move on, man. I want more, but so let's go. Give me more meat.
This next question is purely for Kajo. Do you feel that? Okay. How do I say this? Virtually every character on the show, someone on the internet is thirsty for.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Including the barely seen Manananggal. Was this your intention when you created these characters?
No. No. Ako personally, I just want to draw things properly. So if it's a woman, syempre, dapat attractive na woman. It's a manananggal, dapat nakakatakot, scary creature, bat-like manananggal. Ganun lang. I don't know what happened. Ewan ko, maybe Budge can
It's
answer
because
that.
everyone in the show is very attractive.
I'm thinking din sa comics, din ba, ganun din may depiction namin ng karamihan ng mga, the most of the characters, yung depiction namin sa kanila. But did we make everyone sexy? Did we really make everyone sexy accidentally?
He's got a shirt, for goodness sakes.
Meron ba ano? So here's my question, right?
He's got a shirt.
Tomas, that's Tomas, right? Tama ba?
Yes.
Dominic.
Dominic.
Yeah, Dominic.
Oh, sorry, Dominic. Dominic the Dom.
Yes.
Yeah, yung yung aswang na may 8-pack.
Not a
What?
6-pack, an 8-pack. Okay.
Like what? But I mean, I even saw people being like, they are now shipping Trese and the emissary of Ibu.
Yes. They
That's
will.
amazing.
The ship name is Tresemi.
I've seen stuff on the no, even before the anime dropped, but now it nabuhay ulit. They're shipping the kambal.
The Kambal are brothers.
Oh, for goodness
Parang
sake.
Game of Thrones. Di ba sa Game of Thrones, kambal din yung dalawa? The Lannisters. Right?
Oh.
Si Jaime at si Lena Headey, si Cersei.
Yeah, Cersei and Jaime. Yeah.
So it's
Not alien. Yeah. People will do it.
it's not like new territory. So
Yeah. No, I have a friend who said something like, "Man, I wish I had two hot twins who just gave me coffee and called me bossing." And that's when I went, "Teka lang. Are the Kambal hot?"
are they like the coffee? Also, yeah, you have please, yeah, you know what? Getting her coffee is my job. The kambal, that's not the. I mean, maybe they will, right? But
Yeah, that's right.
episode 1, they gave her water, right?
Yeah. Water. Yep.
For that whole thing,
Yes.
that was cool. But yeah, no, getting her coffee is my job. Thank you.
Yes.
But
So here's another question that I have. Kasi in the comic, you obviously delve into her family, her brothers, and her grandfather, and her father, etc. But I feel like in the show, they really delve into the theme of family. Like they mention it a lot, and it's all about family and everything. So what do you think about really hammering that point home? I feel because for me, it feels like a decision that says something like, how do we make something really Filipino? And the central structure of Filipino culture is family. So
Yeah. I don't know if it had anything to do again with Tanya first reading book 3 ahead of everything else, and that has become the cornerstone in a way. I mean, even if you take a look at even if you take a look at the early pitches of Trese, and we've told the story before about how Tanya and Shanti went on. It was a 10-year journey of pitching this. So in every version of that pitch, Tanya had made the Anton Alexandra relationship the cornerstone of the storyline. And I guess if that was the starting point of when they met with Jay and Mick and Zig, then I can easily, it all makes sense why everything radiates from that initial relationship that they've shown.
Pero Budge, sorry to interrupt you, but when writing the comic, did you ever have the theme of family first and foremost in your mind?
No.
So that just came out through the writing.
Yeah, it was. So of course I did the wiser thing. I reread the comic book after I watched the show. But
you also wrote it, so I think this will be different for you.
Yes. So when I reread book 1, I realized that one of the recurring lines that she would have, or one of her first lines, is, "I am Alexandra Trese. I am nothing like my father. And remember that when I come back here, or the next time you see me." And that line about her getting compared to her father was a recurring theme or moment. Meeting the Tikbalang, where was that?
Which of course you planned out from the very beginning.
So looking back, I think I just knew that she was and again, I had no idea what or who Anton was in the first book. All I knew was that she is doing things differently from how her father did it.
Mm-hmm.
That was the most basic thing. I knew that Anton had established relationships with the supernatural, but there was no such thing as the accords. There was no such thing as the agreements.
Yeah.
Except that that she was doing things her own way. So I think that just kept on building up eventually by book 3, and that's what happened. So again, if you're Tanya and Jay and the other writers, and your first exposure is the first 3 books, then it starts to look like that was the intent of Trese. So it kind of makes sense, later on. And again, going back to our initial discussion about episode 2, I liked how they connected the Tikbalang story, which was about her talking to the father of Maliksi to try and negotiate things. And then talking to the Bagyon, it was also a father and son relationship, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and those are written in 2 separate books. And again, there was no intention to connect it. But by the time I was writing the lines for the Bagyon says, how come the Tikbalans get, a free pass and we don't? And of course, Trese says, yeah, but your son just started to attack us with lightning bolts.
Your son is a dick.
Rufio!
So again,
To be
I guess
fair,
that's
Rufio is kind of a dick.
Well, that was the intent. So I guess that's the advantage of seeing it from a point of view, not where we are. Me and Kajo are down in the trenches, right? And as we're like writing and drawing this, it's like we look up what happened again in the other issue. Okay, so go back again.
So this is interesting to me. Okay, so this question is for Budge, and this question is for Budge and is intended for every aspiring writer who's watching right now. Okay, Budge, if you were the writer of the anime, how would you have adapted your own story?
That's a tough question. With the same limitations, with 6 episodes.
6 episodes, same limitations. How would you have adapted your own story?
I would have been foolish enough to try and still make it episodic.
Would you have tried to adapt it episode by episode?
I think I would have. If I had no, so in other words, if I were to cherry pick from the first 2 books, then I would end episode 6 with her encounter with the Bagyon. Because if you remember, that's when the Bagyon says, there's a storm coming in Alexandra, and you better be ready for it.
That's your cliffhanger.
Which one?
And that would have been your cliffhanger.
And that would have been the cliffhanger, yeah.
And how would you have felt if somebody like me would have said something like, that's not gonna work, Budge?
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's the big difference between being the comic book writer and being the TV writer, right? So I think so again, it would have been like if they told me you only have 6 episodes, so my knee-jerk reaction is let's pick 6 issues to adapt, and with no knowledge whatsoever of the inner workings of being on a global platform like this. So I think again that's the reason why you have a team to make these things work, right? And I think that would have been the input that would have been essential to me, to hear that input of, we need to end it bigger. We need to bring in these talents. We need to bring in an outside perspective like Jay Oliva. And I think that's what makes projects work especially when you enter a field like TV. So, for
It's
me,
different,
Trese
right?
is
TV's
sorry?
bigger than comics. It's different. TV's bigger than comics.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's what do you mean by bigger than well, I guess
Like
yeah.
the,
I mean,
the scale, just the scale. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, yeah. It's a different learning curve. I mean, I think writing Trese for me came at a point when I had already made so many mistakes in doing comics, and then applying everything that me and Kajo learned in doing TV commercials, right? So that whole discipline of having to tell a story in 30 seconds came into play in telling a story in 20 pages.
So you're trying to compress it as much as possible?
Yeah. So and those are the pitfalls of a 20-page storyline, right? In the same way, a 30-second TVC, sure, if you do it well, you could make people cry by the end of a 30-second TV commercial, right? But it's never the same as a 2-hour movie, right? The experience is never the same. So yeah, so that's the comparison. But yeah, I mean, sorry, one last point is that who was giving me that example? Someone had commented on book 3 about how, was it book 3? Somebody said, what I should have done in book 2 was that I should have started to already introduce the talagbusaw in book 2 in like little moments in book 2 that somebody finds the ritual or whatever, just pepper clues throughout book 2 so that by the time we get to book 3 then the payoff makes sense. But again, I don't get to do that because we make it up as we go along, right? It's issue by issue. So therefore,
see, Hank, you're a liar.
So it kind of makes sense that that's what they did.
He's just saying that to throw us off. I know him and Kajo worked this out meticulously. Every little bit. Planado yan. I know these guys.
There's a board.
These guys a long time, man.
There's a board with like red lines connecting everything.
Diba?
There's a whole Gantt chart. There's a whole Gantt chart.
They flow chart. Diba? I'm kidding. I don't think any writer really has and sometimes as you're writing, things change, right? You plan something one way and you know what? Let's change this. I want to make Trese a female, right? I know that was one of the first things you guys did.
That's a great point to bring up.
Did that come from? Sorry, I'm I shouldn't be asking questions, but I've had a couple.
No. I love that you're asking questions. Help me out.
So I'm gonna ask these guys. I'm sure I've heard the story before, but remind me. Did that idea come from Kajo or from Budjette? You made Trese a female. Because I know in the beginning the original plan was he was a guy detective, right?
It was Anton, right? Yeah, it was Anton.
Yeah.
Before you answer that though, I want to say because we're talking about writers who plan everything ahead of time. One of my original plans for this rap party was to get people to leave you messages. And the first person I reached out to was a writer named Dave Hontiveros.
Never heard of him. Never heard of him. Who is this hack?
Who I know is the type of writer to plan everything out meticulously ahead of time.
Hi, Dave. I love you, man.
He did not leave a message, and he said you would know why.
I saw an email.
Dave watched the series. Would you guys know if Dave has watched?
I think he has.
He has watched the series, yes.
Yeah. So he sent me an email, and it was a pretty long email. So I will dive into that email this weekend.
I asked him if he wanted to leave a message for you, and he gave me 2 emails that was this long about why he would not.
That's Dave.
Sounds like
That's
sounds
Dave.
like sounds like our friend. Yeah.
Yep.
So
He sent
anyway,
you he sent you a long email why he won't give.
why is
Yes.
Trese a woman?
Why is
And
Trese a woman?
I will add to that.
Yeah.
Is it important that Trese is a woman?
I think that again, for me, the defining line in issue 1 was when she says, "I'm Alexander Trese, I'm nothing like my father." I think if it was a guy saying that line, it wouldn't have had that same impact. Or somehow, I don't know, maybe there's something in the character, in the way we portray that Trese that would make that male Trese say that line. But somehow that became, I don't know, it's not a theme, but it's something that I just kept going back to in trying to define Trese's character. So again, the origin of Trese is that the original drafts where he was Anton Trese, tough guy detective. I sent the script to Kajo, and Kajo sends me back a sketch of Anton, and it just made me realize how he looked like, or it reminded me so much of so many other, tough guys, detectives that could easily beat up people or monsters that are, twice, thrice his size. Which made me text back Kajo, what if we make her into a woman? And within the same day, Kajo loves the idea and sends back the sketch of Trese. But now that I think about it, I don't know. So that was the whole thought process, right? But the other thing that me and Kajo worked on before Trese is something called The Last Datu.
Yeah, I remember.
And that was, can you remember what year that was? Was it a year before?
Budge, mga 2003, 2004, mga ganun. Yeah.
So a year or two before we make Trese, Kajo sends me 22 pages. 22 pages of a little girl armed with a magic dagger fighting cybernetic aswang in an alien planet, and somehow that her father and mother had been abducted, taken away, killed, and she now goes on a mission to to rescue her tribe, right? But when Kajo sends me this whole thing, it had no dialogue, and when I asked him, he said, "Oh, can you write the dialogue for this?" And I said, "Okay, sure. Tell me who's the girl, who's the guy, who's the monster, and all of these characters." And Kajo said, "Hindi, bahala ka na. Ikaw yung magsulat. Parang gusto ko, parang 50% akin yung art, 50% gusto ko sa'yo yung kwento." And that was the toughest challenge anyone had ever given me.
Bahala ka na.
Oh.
This is the perfect example of Marvel style, by the way.
Oh, yeah, it's like a reverse Marvel style, right? Because I didn't even pitch the story.
You don't even have the plot.
Gawin ko na. Gawin mo na kwento.
Yeah.
Ikaw na rin maglagay ng characters, saka ng dialogue, di ba?
Yeah. So anyways, it took me a long time before I got to figure out who they were. And again, I don't know what was Kajo's original thought, but in the story, the story became that the father is human and that the mother is an Encanto who lives in a planet. So in this alien planet, you have Encanto and Aswang living in this planet, and humans had come to colonize the planet. But the Aswang had come and, essentially attacked the human tribe and the Encanto tribe. And the mother somehow dies, and the father gets taken to the fortress of the Aswang, whose leader transforms into a cybernetic tikbalang. And the girl gets to rescue. Again, I had to make this up looking at just Kajo's pictures, right? Eventually, the girl gets to rescue the dad, but the dad dies, and then the dad says, I turn over to you the entire tribe. You are now the last Datu of our tribe, and you must unite the tribes. You must unite the human tribes and the Encanto tribe to fight the Aswang, and that is your mission, right? The mom turns out to be could transform into this cybernetic manananggal type creature. So if you look at what the manananggal looks like, she looks like Crispin. She looks like the mask of Crispin. And it's a little girl who's armed with a dagger, who's trying to live up to her father's, essentially, she inherited the responsibility of taking care of the tribes in this new alien planet. So somehow, I look back at this now, I don't know if that was like an inception done by Kajo. Because all of those elements ended up being transferred to Trese.
Tanong natin si Kajo, Inception ba?
You plant those seeds?
Well, hindi ko alam kung I'm not sure kung, well, I'm sure that it's not intentional because I just want to make comic books with someone who also loves making comic books. At si Budge yun. Yun lang yung gusto ko mangyari. That's all I wanna do. And it happened.
Guys, I watched a documentary called Comiquero Chronicles. And Budge, you were pretty heavily featured in that one. It's by Keith Sikat. And I think Kajo is sinabi mo dun na it's fun. If it doesn't make money, it's still fun. Well, now you're a Netflix show. Basta naman.
And he's probably still not making that much anyway. Alam mo kung saan napunta yung budget ng Netflix? Sa billboard, pare. Sa billboard. Alam mo ba, pati ako nagbabantay ako ng billboard.
Which, by the way, give those guys an award.
Ayaw ma-vandalize yung pare. Kasi isipin mo, di ba? If in the real world, the real billboards are being vandalized by real aswang, the real Hank Sparrow, not the other guy on Facebook, but the real Hank Sparrow, it's like a call to arms. This is my...
Yeah.
I got to stand up, and it's like the war book all over again, right? Hank in the comic books, he never takes up arms. But when it comes time to war, all hands on deck. Diba? Lahat, everybody it's a call to arms. Even if you're a non-combatant, alcoholic guy that's just tending the bar. You're Alfred in the Batcave, but no, this is wartime. Everybody suit up. Diba? Get your guns out and so yeah, right?
So yeah, it's
budget's making any money still.
It's still fun. At least.
At least, but that's the whole point. It's still fun. Yung puso naman sa dalawang to. I mean, the puso has always been there.
Tingnan natin. Let's see if bayaran kami ng Jollibee just to have the Trese na kambal Chicken Joy.
Dude, yung mga inasal. Nasa stasyon ng tren eh. Inasal. First episode pa lang, I'm like, oh my God. It's not even a facsimile. It's not even a, it's funny how some of the characters you sort of like change the names a little bit and whatnot. But for the product stuff, I'm like, that's the
Yep.
So one of the reasons I prefer
Nova Aurora, I feel her name is a bale from another prominent.
Really? Shining star.
May ganun pa, di ba? So, but that's what makes it relatable, right? You look at it and kung Pinoy ka, connect. Diba?
One of the reasons I prefer the Tagalog dub is because of the scene in that train station. Kasi There's one scene where Trese goes to Captain Guerrero, and then nandun si Mayor Santa Maria, who may or may not be named after one of your friends. And then
Friends talaga.
and then sabi ni Captain Guerrero in English, I'm just trying to investigate, but it's really hard when this circus is going on, right? But in Tagalog, it's well, sinusubukan ko mag-investigate. Pero may sandamukal na ano dito eh.
I think at one point, correct me if I'm wrong, at one point he actually says malapit na kasi mag-eleksyon eh.
Yeah.
There's that girl passing out the election material, yung fans with and wow.
And I think the moment that really cemented me preferring the Tagalog version was sometime in episode 1. Si Trese goes into the Aswang territory, and then she says, and then the Kambal says, "Oh, we'll just be here if you need backup." And then in Tagalog, it's, "Andito lang kami para rumesbak."
I really need to watch everything again.
It's so awesome. But I mean,
here's like a college flashback, right?
Here's the thing I will say though. Here's the thing I will say though. Like, would you think there is a possibility for a more colloquial Taglish dub? Because I think everyone in this call right now, in terms of how you lived life, probably lived a more a more mixed. Some people will speak English more, some people will speak Tagalog more, some people will change the language based on who they're talking to. Do you think that's a possibility, or is it more of a marketing thing that the Tagalog is more formal and then the English?
That's a good question. It would be great to talk to Rodolfo about that. But I mean, if you take a look at even our teleseries are written that way, right? Depending on which characters are talking and who they're talking to, they would shift, right? So that's what I liked about Eric Mati's OTJ. Right, the script was written like that, so there would be moments where, if it's the time in the Bilibid, then everyone talks in Filipino, but that one moment in the end where the cop talks to the governor or something like that, the governor Leo Martinez is giving his whole spiel in English, and it just makes more sense, and it just made it sound more seedy that he was giving his, he was threatening the cop in English. So yeah, for me, it would be cool if they could do that.
Yeah, kasi like for example, Trese would absolutely speak to Captain Guerrero in Tagalog, and I think the Kambal would speak in Tagalog. But when she's talking to Senor Armanas, I feel like she would speak in English. Right? I feel like that's the so I think that was what I kept saying. If I could mix and match certain things, I feel like it would have really perfected the show. But I understand why it's not, because in the Philippines, depending on where you're watching, people perceive languages in a different way. Kajo in Davao, like, would they prefer English over Tagalog or Tagalog over English, or
actually it's
like a dialect, right? Because I've actually seen
given those two choices though.
On the Trese page, some people are like, can we have it in like a Bicolano dub or a Cebuano dub or
Chabacano? Somebody's even asking for Chabacano.
I've seen all kinds, right? And we only have like how many dialects in the Philippines? Pwede yan.
We have so many.
But I'm sorry, I interrupted. You were asking.
Yeah, like in Davao, for example.
Davao, I think, pero syempre predominantly Bisaya yung language dito. I think meron pa ring there are certain siguro groups that they will appreciate na dire-diretsong Bisaya, but there are also groups na mas natural for them kung may mix ng Bisaya and Tagalog. Bisalog tawag nila dun eh.
Ang tawag?
Bisalog, parang ganun.
Bisalog.
Bisaya and Tagalog.
Tagalog. Na
So walang
ganun
English.
sila. Siguro
this is fascinating.
very little. Nasisingit yung English pero nagmi-mix yung Bisaya and Tagalog. Yung use ng dalawang yun dito. Siguro yun yung mga bagong generation.
See, so as much as I'm saying like Taglish would be natural, there is a certain faction of people who would be like, no, it's not natural.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. Depende sa areas pa rin.
That's interesting. Is there anything else I forgot to ask?
Yes. I need to go soon, dude.
And anything you guys want to mention? No.
Hank, do you have a question?
No, I'm pretty good. I have a lot of questions, but it's not related to Trese.
Okay.
I'll save those for the next time, but I don't think I'm going to get invited back to Comic Cube. But
No, you're absolutely invited. Absolutely.
okay, so actually, apparently they don't have very high standards on the show. They're inviting me back. I don't know. I don't have anything. Is there anything else?
I think the next episode.
You know, okay, I have a shout out to everybody that's listening, to the viewers or the subscribers of Comic Cube. Guys, please do not watch Trese on a third-party platform. Sana you can just keep it to Netflix. We need the numbers because without that we can't get season 2, man. Right? And if you can hit the thumbs up, if you do like it, hit the thumbs up. If you don't like it,
by the way, if you want to watch another anime right after it, because I think that Trese might be seen as a gateway to that kind of genre.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, diba? Tsaka yung mga IP natin, but you know, it's the mga other Filipino stuff. Maybe Netflix is looking at, you know what, if this works, maybe we can grab, not only we're going to give them a season 2, you know what, we're going to look at other Filipino, IPs and content, and like, they're easy to work with pala. Diba? Or
that's actually,
or there's a market for this, right? There's a market for this. People are like, the viewership's like gone up, like whatever, and
that's actually a great segue to
a long time, because I do believe it's a long time coming.
That's actually a great segue to my next and last question, Hank. And I'm gonna start with you.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I'm gonna start with you, and I'm gonna go to Kajo, and I'm gonna go to Budge to close it off. Okay. So the next thing that's gonna happen is platforms are going to go to the Philippines and say, what do you have next? What else you got? What do the Filipino creatives and fans have to do? What is our role now? Where do we go from here? Hank, you want to start?
Yeah, I think cool. Yeah. I was already there.
I just wanted to articulate that question because you were.
Thank you. No. Thank you. I've had a couple of guys give me, but thank you, Duy, for framing that properly and for having me on the show, not kicking me off and like, this guy's like talking too much.
Hank, you served me my first ever beer. I'm not kicking you out.
There you go. That's the answer.
I think it was underage too. Oh my gosh. Okay, so we're all friends here. But yes, definitely, guys, don't like what I was going on about earlier. Please don't wag niyo i-third party. You know what I mean? In Netflix nyo na kasi nga we need the numbers for season 2, 'di ba? 'Di ba kayo nabitin? Ako bitin ako, 'di ba? Nag-post credit. Nakita niyo ba yung post credits, 'di ba?
There's like so much left to explore.
And the world, if anybody reads the comic books, right? Ang dami pang pwedeng di ba?
By the way, those guys in front of the balete tree, those are her brothers. Don't you want to know more about them?
Diba? Pamilya yun, diba? It's about family. Diba? So, diba? And they're still writing. And then also it'll connect to maybe like what I was also saying earlier. You know, it's a chance for us to as you know, bilang mga Pinoy, eto na kami, di ba? Pwede na, di ba? Oh my gosh, I didn't know that you know the Philippines had such rich culture and such rich mythology and that you know there's a good-looking bartender pala there somewhere. You know, where did that come from? You know, I mean, so yes, so you guys sort of get the gist of where I'm going with this. So, yun, sana, ano, di ba? And for the Pinoy, the other Pinoy fans and the Pinoy writers, this is gonna sound a little weird. I know we're Pinoy, but let's try not to be uber Pinoys and do the whole, you know, crab mentality bit.
Yes.
And like, you know, just be happy for what's going on with Trese. And, you know, imbis na hatakin natin sila pababa, di ba? Sakyan na natin sila. Sorry, that's...
true. It's true.
Oo, di ba? Sumakay lang. Diba?
When
okay
you
naman
have
sumakay
a win,
sa, di ba, Budjette, tsaka Kajo, okay naman sumakay sa Trese, di ba? With what's going on now. You know what I'm saying, right? Di ba? Let's go. Let's ride with the wave. Let's ride with the tide. Yep. Diba? Imbis na, hindi, kasi ganyan. Tapos naghahatakan pa tayo. Dude, enough na, di ba? Ito na yung chance natin, di ba? Long time coming nga, di ba? Not just for Trese, but for Pinoys as, you know, independent Pinoy comics. My gosh, guys, ito na tayo, di ba? All the fans, all the geeks, all the nerds, di ba? It's okay to have an opinion, but let's stop like doing the whole, you know, support each other, man.
I absolutely agree. So what Hank is saying is that whether you like Trese, you didn't like Trese, if you have positive reviews, negative reviews, it's an opportunity for you guys. Don't screw it up.
For us, for all of us. Diba? Kahit yung mga nag-YouTube na, you know, like Comic Cube, diba? I mean, because obviously, if it's a Pinoy content, diba?
Yep.
Hey, I got the new hot guys from the new Filipino anime on Trese, diba? And I'm guessing them tonight, diba? I mean, lahat nakikinabang diba? It's all connected.
I don't know if you know this, but Budjette is responsible for 350 of my subscribers.
How many subscribers do you have?
1,150. Budjette is responsible for about 1/3.
30%. Is that Budjette, Kajo, and Trese, or just Budjette?
That's Budjette.
No, it's just Budjette. It's just Budjette. I've like the individual interviews I've had with Budjette have brought in 350 subscribers.
Guys, sasabihin ko lang I just want to make it clear with everybody. Si Budjette, kaibigan ko yan
Thank you, Hank. Thank you, Hank.
No. Thank you.
Hindi ko siya pababa, di ba? Sumakay na lang ako sa kanya, di ba? Ganun yun, guys.
No. Thank you,
diba? Lead by example, di ba? Ganun lang, di ba? Huwag naman tayo, di ba? Tama na, di ba? Ano pa natin yung opportunity, di ba? Sorry, I'm talking to the people that are listening to you. I hope hindi mabawasan yung mga viewers ng Comic Cube kasi that's what happened.
You know what, Hank? Kung mabawasan...
Budjette is responsible for 350 members. Hank is responsible for me losing 350 members.
You know, Hank, kung mabawasan, I didn't want them anyway.
There you go.
Kajo, anyway, where does the Filipino creative and the fandom go from here?
I'm gonna quit on my head.
Well, even before the Netflix thing, nandoon na yung nabubuhay na yung Filipino comics. Talagang it's on the rise already. Kahit even before the Netflix Trese Netflix thing. So I'll say just keep doing it. I know this country will not really incapable pa for now of supporting you. Dahil kung ano man for some reason. Pero just keep doing it despite the failures, because there will be more failures. Based on experience, there will be more failures than successes. So keep doing it, and then hopefully, I don't know if yung the new technology now can make this sustainable, this hobby. Kasi sa experience namin ni Budge, it never was. Pero well, my point lang is, if you have a day job but you want to do the comics, don't lose the day job. Siguro tulad ng ginawa namin ni Budge,
Be practical.
may trabaho kami, but after the 10-hour, 12-hour na trabaho, saka namin gagawin yung comics. Ganun lang muna for now, until siguro hopefully we become like Japan. Hopefully, na you can earn enough to hire 5 assistants. Wow. Diba? That's the dream. Diba? So for now, help yourselves so that you just keep creating.
So Kajo, it feels like sinasabi mo na if you really want to make comics, you will find the time.
Find the time, find the way.
Find the time, find a way. So kung gusto, may paraan.
Yun. Mm-mm.
Kung ayaw, may dahilan.
Mm-mm. And hopefully, kaya kayo gumagawa ng comics is to tell a story, hindi para, well, pwede rin, gusto nyo magpapogi, okay lang, pero comics yata, that's not the right venue para magpapogi.
Teka, so what are you saying na what happened with you with Trese and Netflix? If people want to make comics, manage your expectations. Because it doesn't mean that just because you make Filipino comics that Netflix will approach you. Parang ganun.
Well, kami ni Budge, that was never the intention.
So nagkataon lang talaga.
That was never intention. Mm-hmm. Siguro byproduct lang ng we have enough material na pwedeng i-present sa outfits like Netflix. And then with that 7 volumes, siguro 6 volumes, they can see na, maybe pwede yan.
So
maybe we can use that.
So there is your lesson, guys. Produce 7 volumes of materials before Netflix can approach you.
Siguro keep doing what you love until you get lucky. Not really.
That's very well said. Kasi it's not just putting in the work, being in the right place at the right time, I feel.
Yun din timing
Well,
diba? There's timing.
Well, I have been told by several people that luck is where opportunity meets skill.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So, yes, right place at the right time, but you wouldn't have gotten to the right place at the right time if you didn't put in the work, right?
Oh, naman.
Yes.
Yes. Yung pawis na that these guys put in, man. Wow.
Right.
Yun nga, so, when the time na I think Netflix was looking for something, we have something to present. Parang ganun.
So it's just make stuff, guys, and eventually the doors will open. Budge, you want to close this?
Yep. To echo what's been said, I think to the fans and to the readers, if you have a favorite book or favorite creator, then please do what you can in whatever small way to help that creator. Whether it's buying the book of that creator and not getting the pirated stuff, to even as simple as reposting and announcing na, "Oy, I read this. I really like it. You might like it too." And that's already, that little bit of help already is, goes a long way, especially for the creators who are, trying to make their money back. Or if the creator is being published by a publisher, then that's a signal to the publisher that, okay, this guy's work is doing well, it's selling well, maybe we should do more. We need to send the right signals to the right people that these are the stories we want to support. So again, whether it's through postings on social media or just promoting it to your family, using it as Christmas gift sa susunod na Pasko, that helps. And to echo what Kajo said, make comic books because you want to do comics. If you want to get into Netflix, then study film. Go to film school, learn how to become a director, learn how to write movie scripts, then you might get into Netflix. Getting adapted is your bonus, right? Unless that's how you want to evolve as a creator. And we've seen it. We've seen writers who start off doing one thing and then they want to move on to the next thing. And some writers are comfortable doing just that one thing, and that's fine. Novelists or comic book writers. But some writers just want to try out different ways of writing. And so that should be your goal, because you want to tell stories in a new way, and not because I want to get famous on Netflix, right? It's be driven by what you want to do. I am so in awe with people like Tanya and Shanti, our producers. Being a producer means you are constantly dealing with problems that need to be solved, right? Whether it's a problem of ganito lang yung budget na binigay sa'yo, 6 episodes lang ang pwede mong gawin. Yung talent mo, hindi available ng ganitong date, anong gagawin mo? This is the thing that people don't see. But they love it. They love tackling these problems. They love doing these things just to be able to produce a show for everyone. And that's a different kind of skill and a different kind of passion. And my point is that that's what they love to do, and that's why they're making all of these, TV shows and movies for you. But again, if you're a writer and that's really your passion, or if you're an artist and that's really your passion, then by focusing on that, you share it and not care about what people will think or say about it, you will suddenly just feel the support, and that's when people will start approach you, just by focusing on the work and doing the best you can possibly can every time you tell a story.
Well said. Congratulations, Budge. Congratulations, Kajo, for seeing your work come to Netflix animated. Congratulations, Hank, for being animated and
for inspiring us
and looking like a boxer. If everything goes well in the Philippines, I can't wait. If everybody gets vaccinated enough, I cannot wait for Halloween. I feel like it's going to be a very Trese-themed Halloween.
Oh my God, Hank, are you ready? Are you ready to bump into yourself when you go out into the streets?
Many times. He will bump into himself many times.
The weird thing is somebody's already told me we're going to crossplay you.
Oh.
Crossplay.
Crossplay. Ooh, okay.
Like females want to cosplay Hank the Bartender. Yeah,
with a mustache.
I don't know. Find out. We'll see, right? But that I'm really interested in. Of course, there's already a cool thing. But I don't know which. Also for Halloween, what are we gonna see? are we gonna see the Hank from the comic book pages?
Oh,
And which Hank from the comic book pages? Because I have evolved. Thank you, Kajo. He's evolved me on the pages, right? If you look at the first book, the second book, the third book, and even, well, most especially in the sixth book, my look changes over time. Depends on the last time I hung out with Kajo. That's what ends up on the page, right? So they have a lot just from the comic books. Ang dami na nilang pipilian. Which Hank do we want to come as, right? And then now they have they have the added choice of coming as Pac-Man. Do you want to be Pac-Man, Hank? That's okay. You can do that. Or what is it? Retro Hank. Or
Retro Hank, yes.
I've heard Retro Hank on the fan pages because I really feel like, he's a Tito's Tito. So yeah. Halloween's nuts. Sign up, everybody's vaccinated, and we can get back to, closer to what business was, business as usual or life as usual.
People have told me
I want to go back to the old abnormal.
people have told me Hank is the Tito everyone has.
Yep. Actually, in the show, I feel like that version of Hank is a Tito's Tito, right? Because I'm looking at it, I'm like, because Tito's now is like, oh, you like grunge, so that's the 90s, right? But so if your Tito likes stuff from the 90s, his Tito must like stuff from the 70s. So that's how I'm looking at it. He's a Tito's Tito, like the ultimate.
Congratulations, everyone. This was
Thank you.
This was
Thank you
great.
very much.
This was amazing.
Thank you.
And I'm looking forward to season 2. I'm claiming that right now.
Yes.